And so one of the terms that we have heard in cryptocurrency space is hodl, hodler, become a hodler. Well, I completely understand and agree to the fact that if you become a hodler instead of trader, the investments can go thousandfold or maybe even more. But well, hodling will only work for you if you are holding the right coins. If you're a hodler of a coin which is going to be in existence for the next 5 years, 6 years, or maybe 2 years, then it makes sense, just like Bitcoin has about a decade ago. But if you're hodling a coin which is not going to sustain for a longer time, which does not have a viable product, being a hodler of that coin may be the terrible decision, right? Well, there's 1,600 cryptocurrencies on the coin market cap. And you know, and I know, most of these cryptocurrencies are going back to zero. I'm sure not all of these cryptocurrencies are going to be in existence in next 2 years or 3 years. So which are the cryptocurrencies which are going back to zero? Maybe they have already gone 100x or 1000x, but they might go back to zero. And so how will we know that which one is going to zero? Let's talk about that. First and foremost, so we had a Federal Reserve representative. His name is Mr. James Bullard. He was there at Consensus 2018, and he said that he actually gave an example of 1873 when every banks were issuing their own currency and how it ended up. So it ended up really bad. So he basically gave a relationship to that everyone is today is issuing a cryptocurrency, is issuing an ICO, and this is all going to end in very bad, and that's quite true. Now let's understand what exactly happened with Bitcoin. Now a lot of ICOs that you will come across, that they give an example of Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatnot. But in the reality, the truth is that most of these ICOs are not at all like Bitcoin. Not at all. Completely they are opposite of Bitcoin. So one of the reasons why Bitcoin has survived so far and has survived a decade is first its censorship resistance. So though nobody can actually censor it because it is decentralized in nature, right? And the second is, of course, the creator of the Bitcoin, which is Satoshi Nakamoto. Nobody knows who that is. Otherwise, these officials would have tried their best to actually get a hold of him and try to find out how can we break this Bitcoin. Is there a way to break it Bitcoin, and how did you create it? Well, one of the reasons that Bitcoin survived, because you cannot do both the things. So you cannot kill Bitcoin because it is decentralized nature. You can run the nodes on any computer that you want. It just exists in the air, and also the creator. Now, if you look at the current ICOs and if you look at all the coins which are being traded on the coin market, 80% or maybe 90% are not decentralized. Most of them are centralized in nature. So what do I mean by saying that most of them have a less number of nodes, and if the regulators would want to, they can easily kill those nodes. And at the same time, the creator is very much everyone knows the creator, because recently, you know, the SEC said that okay, the most of these tokens is security tokens. So we want, I mean, Ethereum was going to be called a security token now. So there have been many cryptocurrencies that SEC is calling a security token. So if they declare something as a security token, they are definitely going to get a hold of who actually created it, right? So the first problem with all the cryptocurrencies that is listed on the coin market is that most of them are centralized, and secondly, they have, or maybe semi-centralized, or they have the fixed nodes, and the second is the creators are very much out there, so they can be asked to, you know, to shut down the operations and do not do whatever, I mean whatever works for the regulators. So these cryptocurrencies can really be killed. They are not as censorship resistant as Bitcoin, right? So that's the first one. And the second one is also that, let us say that any cryptocurrency that exists today on the coin market, in case they want to sustain the longer term, they want to go on for like 3 years, 5 years, or more, maybe a decade, they have to have a viable product. Now if you realize this, now out of the 1,600 cryptocurrencies that we have, I mean, there are hardly about 5% who have a viable product. Most of them are just the promise to deliver the product in future. Now, one of the things that people actually look at, investors, we all as an investor look at, is participating into ICO. And the second question that we ask is, when will it be listed on the exchange? Well, that's quite true, and that is how the investment should also go. But at the same time, that's not really the actual use case of the product to get listed on the exchange. That's not the use case. The actual use case of the ICO, the token, was to deliver a product, and not only deliver a product which everyone uses. Right? So there are two challenges here. The first one is delivering the product, and the second is, so there is a use case and people are accepting that product in order for the token price to go up. Now, in this scenario today, what is happening right now, that most of the cryptocurrencies that is traded already does not have a viable product. So let's assume that in the next 1 year or 2 years, and we are not even talking about the ICOs which are being planned. I'm sure it's the equivalent. So let's say there are about 1,600 cryptocurrencies. I'm sure it's the equivalent number or even more which are in the pipeline. So what do I mean by saying that is they are either an ICO, or they're planning an ICO, or they need to be launched. So you're talking about roughly around 3,000 plus tokens easily. Now, so most of these tokens which are already traded, let's talk about the ones which are traded right now on the exchanges, right? Now, if they do not deliver the product on time, so maybe you talk about the Tron, whatever the roadmap is, you talk about the Cardano, ADA, of course, EOS is coming up now. I'm talking about any blockchain, so I'm not favoring any of them actually, right? So these blockchains, if they do not deliver the product, right, eventually what's going to happen is that they would not be able to do some partnerships, so they would not have a use case, and eventually people will stop trading those tokens. Now, if you must have noticed this is what happens, that whenever people buy a certain number of tokens of any particular token, that is when the prices actually really shoots up to the moon. And some of the news are related to the partnerships. So let's say VeChain partnered up with a company, or EOS partnered up, or the ADA partnered up, or the Ripple partnered up. Now imagine if they don't have a viable product, if they don't have a deal, if they're not working on the product even after 2 years or 1 year, it's quite natural there are going to be no partnership happening. So no partnership means no product, means no partnership, and then the tokens that they have will have no value. And also people who are holding, right? So if everyone starts selling their tokens or coins just because they don't have a use case, they don't have a viable product, they're not doing under partnership, they've gone literally dead. So people are actually holding tokens, they will also be frustrated and they will sell. Or maybe the other possibility is also that maybe you have a better product into blockchain space, with something which is better than EOS, something which is better than Cardano, something which is better than Ethereum. And if that's the case, of course the other one will go obsolete, and so their tokens will also not be traded, right? So in both the cases, right, or maybe in all the three cases, when it is centralized, it could be victim to the regulators, when they will go ahead and kill it. Secondly, it could be that they are not building the viable product at all. They've gone idle. There is no talk about it. There is no partnership happening. And number three is that there is a better product out there. So in all the three cases, the price of the token will go to zero. There is no doubt about that. Now, so how do we ensure that the cryptocurrency that we hold, our investment that we hold, does not go to zero? Well, one simple formula that I found is look for really two things. Look for, first of all, decentralization nature, because that's really important, right? So when it comes to decentralization, look out for something which has a decentralized protocol. Something, in my opinion, today, Bitcoin, nothing is as decentralized as Bitcoin. So maybe Bitcoin or maybe Ethereum and others, right? And the second one, because that is when it won't be censored. At least you know that it can't be censored, right? So you're saved on that. And also it's not a security token, because that could be prone to regulations. And the number two, does it have a product? Does it have a product now? Because if it does not have a product, then I'm taking the risk. It doesn't mean that it has a product, it would never go obsolete, but I'm reducing my chances, or I'm reducing my risk almost by 80%, looking at it that it has a product already, right? Because if it has a product, if it has use case, for some of the blockchains that I know of which has a use case is Bitcoin for sure, Ethereum for sure, you would agree to this. And then you have VeChain have some use cases as well. EOS is going to be launching now, so hopefully they will also have use cases. And Steemit have use cases, the social media platform. So this is a viable product. Use cases, what I mean by is a viable product. So some of the cryptocurrencies which have the viable product today would be the safest, I would say, instead of the ones which do not have a product at all and they are just the promise. And there are more chances that they will go back to zero for sure in case if they don't deliver the product. The opposite can also happen, that since they don't have a product now but they are still building the product, it might also happen that they might deliver the product, an excellent product, in 2 years from now or 3 years from now, and they can shoot to the moon. So that's also possible. But I think there are lesser risk if you have holding an investment in something which already have a viable product, then that going to zero, instead of something which does not have a product as well, that going to zero. So possibility of one which does not have a product going to zero is more than the one which has a product already. Let me know your opinion. What do you think about this? Cryptocurrencies going to zero, what do you think? Is that the right way of evaluating the cryptocurrencies and blockchain projects? Thank you so much for watching. Again, none of this is a financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are risky. Please do your research, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much and take care.